Hi guys, welcome back to the 24th episode of Mindless Podcast. Today we're going to be doing more embarrassing stories. Of course, we've had our fair share of weird stories and possibly embarrassing ones sprinkled across. But now we're just going to do a full-on episode exposing ourselves. It's going to be great. And to all those people who might stumble upon this, you now technically have blackmail on us. Sort of. But it's on the internet, so it's half and half. But yeah, it's going to be quite the episode. Hopefully you guys will laugh along. And yeah, we're going to start off with a riddle as usual from Eva.
Yay, public blackmail. We love that. Okay. It is weightless. You can see it, and if you put it into a barrel, it will make it lighter. What is it?
Nothing.
And it makes it lighter, but if you put nothing in there, it's still the same amount.
You can see it. I mean, I guess you can see
Is
nothing.
it a hole?
Damn, we got Heather.
She's got the brain cell today, Heather.
Ooh,
Did you
I
steal
know.
it for your? Did you steal it for your A-push essay?
I did. I
You
did.
did, didn't you? Because I was writing it tonight, and I was like, "What is this?"
Listen,
So Heather has the brain cell confirmed.
If I have to wake up at 9:30 on a Saturday, I'm going to take the gosh
8.
darn. Well, I went to bed at 4, so.
I went to
Oh
bed
my
at 1,
God.
so I'm good. I am energized. All right, so that was quick. Hope you guys
That was
like
really
that better
quick.
than the usual Jeopardy music-filled us thinking kind of thing. Yeah, we usually get it
I put
really
in something special for the Valentine's Day one.
Wow.
She's currently editing Valentine's Day episode, which came out 2 weeks ago by the time you get this one. So if you haven't watched that one, highly suggest. Unsolicited advice is possibly the best thing we've ever come up with. I think it's a gem. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
So-
a gem.
Shameless
It's
promote.
a gem. It is.
Go
It's
check
a
it
hidden
out.
gem in YouTube in general. It's a chaotic one, but I feel like some people will find it enjoyable. So, yeah. So we're gonna go me first. We're gonna go down the list. So this one goes back to 5th grade because I feel like the more in the past it is, the less embarrassing it is as I retell it. The less second
Agreed.
embarrassment I get as I retell it.
You're more
So-
distant from the event.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's
Time
super
heals
duper
most
light.
wounds.
Yeah. Oh, I'm nervous. Okay, so it's 5th grade, and this guy I knew I was friends with, we're all in 5th grade watching these two people run. So it was a girl, and it was a guy. And I'm pretty sure the girl liked the guy, and they were like, okay, let's have this race. They made it a big thing. The whole week, people were making posters for them, whatever, in 5th grade. And we were like, yay! And we thought it was going to be a one-time thing. At lunch, before lunch, we have the recess. So we're all standing there, and this guy beats the girl, and she isn't even halfway by the time he's done. So that was a little bit of a letdown, but everyone else was like, okay, so what do we do now? The race that everyone was talking about for a week, it's done. And then the next thing I know, we're on the other side of the field because they run from the right side to the left side, which is the back of the field. And we're all there now. So this guy that I was friends with, he kicks off his shoes, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, let's race. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, let's race. And everyone's all huddled around, so everyone hears it. And they're like, yeah, go race. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine. And at the time, I was top 10 runner in the grade. Not at all that now. Let's make that very, very clear. I was good then. I am a potato now, especially
Dude,
with quarantine.
same.
I've always been a
I
potato.
used to be a good runner, or somewhat good. And I was
Right? Same.
everyone's saying I have to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And we're all lined up at the back of the field, so we're running back to the beginning of the field, which is the right side. And mostly it was 5th graders there, so all the other grades had essentially cleared out. But for some reason, there was this little group of 2nd graders off on the dirt kind of part of the field, not so much because it was a baseball field, not so much the
Did
grassy
you run
area.
them over?
I didn't run them over.
Oh,
didn't.
okay. I
This
was
is very,
like, oh.
but it's a pivotal point in the story. And so
Did they
they're
make fun of
okay,
you?
they're kicking soccer ball over there, we're fine. But here's the thing, they started near the fence side of the field, the furthest away from the dirt path. We were right next to the dirt path. So I was like, and I was the closest to the dirt path. So it was the guy and me, soccer ball, 2nd graders, dirt over there. So, we
I
start
get
off
more
running,
this
and
time.
I'm beating this guy. Not by a lot, by 2 feet of distance. And I am smoking this guy, or at least in my mind, telling myself I am. And this 2nd grader runs up, and he goes crab dancing over to me, in front of me. and he damn near trips me. So immediately I swerve because he's right next to me,
yeah.
so it's like cutting off a car. So I
Mhm.
cut him off, I go onto his path, and I go back onto mine. But on the way there, I tripped because he kicked my foot, and I'm going forward, but somehow I recovered from the from the trip, and I was still ahead of him, a feet ahead of him now. And next thing I know,
Damn.
I
Nice.
feel a foot kick the back of my shoe, not a shoe, so not the second grader. My friend who kicked off his shoes kicks me behind the heel, and I was like 75 recovered. So like 75%, I'm about to come back up, kick, face plant in front of all the fifth graders in the
Ow.
field.
Well, okay, but they saw you do that sick dodge, that sick maneuver around the
No
crab
one remembers
dancing
that
people.
because they only remember me eating.
Also, I have to admit, I've been just like this random second grader just goes up and just like walks in front of
No,
you.
because he knew you were racing and he couldn't get the first set of people because they were too far off. And next thing he knows, there's this little girl over here running who also looks like a second grader. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go trip this.
I would
So
like
I'm
to
like,
think that your friend like bribed him,
dancing.
like, hey, I'm gonna do a race with that girl. When you see her running, like,
he
get in her
tripped
way
me,
or
and I was
something.
like, and he
Yeah,
kept running. No one,
that's
he
straight
didn't
up
come back to be like, oh
cheating.
my goodness, okay, no, he sped past, went to the finish line,
Do
finished
you
the
think it
goddamn
was-
race. While
do you
I
think
was
it was-
there just being like, you know what, it's over. Like,
Yeah, Anthony, that's my guy. Tripped her up.
Do you think that was a tactical move? Do you think he tripped you on purpose?
absolutely. Because I was already back on my path, so we had to go to the right, trip me, and because he saw I already nearly tripped on the first little crab walk incident, and was like, okay, let's tip her over.
I mean, that's just foul play, man.
Honestly, but no one saw that
Honestly.
because we're too far ahead and no one ran with us this time. They weren't like walking over as we went. So they just see from the back. So from the back, they don't see the kick. If they were in the front or if they were on the side, they would have seen the kick, but they weren't.
And they wouldn't have believed you if you told them because it'd be
I don't
like,
think I
oh,
told them. I
she's
think I was
making
too busy
excuses.
like sitting as a tomato red embarrassed kid to say anything. And the girls ran up to me. Girls I hadn't even talked to before. And they're like, oh my goodness, are you okay? And they were so nice about it. And I was like, yeah. And one of the gymnasts, they go, it looks like you did a handstand with your face.
I'm just imagining, 'cause that means your face would have been like, poof, and then your body just
I
went
got like spiked
over.
onto the ground essentially by like gravity.
Oh my god.
It's like those
It
comics.
didn't hurt that bad. Let's make that very clear. From what I remember, it was grass. It was soft, a little bit dewy, if you will. So it didn't hurt that bad. But the embarrassment hurt. The people running to me, asking me at lunch as I was sitting down eating, coming up, is your face okay? Yeah, I'm fine. My dignity's a little bit hurt, but my face is fine.
Melanie, I need to draw you a visual representation of what I'm seeing in my mind about like a headstand thing.
Please do.
Yeah, I can't get over that. I know you told me everything, but I
It's
just
like
can't. Like,
it's like
did
I
she come
literally just-
over?
Me standing, but me 180 degrees around standing. So like my face
Exactly.
just went. I'm lucky
If
my
I
neck
could,
didn't
like, if I
go
could
down.
draw
Like,
you an
imagine
animation,
I
I
fell
would.
asleep, like my legs flinged over and I like bent like that. That would have been
Yeah.
so nasty. But no, it was a straight spike. I was like a plank just right
Oh,
on my
okay, because when the like if this is your head, your face basically, right? I imagine like your neck would have to bend, and then like
Luckily
the
it
and
didn't.
then
I don't
like
know
the rest
how
of
it
you just bends over, and I was like,
I don't
oh.
know how it didn't. I think my forehead hit it first, so it didn't. I would have rolled out of it, but I wasn't like there wasn't enough momentum.
Did she sound like she was trying to be like seeing the positive, like
She was trying to see the
you
positive.
like
She's like, oh, I just looked at you did a headstand, but like with your head. And I was like, okay.
that was pretty good. It looked like a handstand,
It could have been
with
pretty.
your face.
You know, if I learned how to do walkover, we could have recovered possibly. But no, second grade Melanie
I
couldn't
know
even
if you could have continued it and did some like sick like moves.
Dude, that would have made fifth grade just a highlight. But no, most of my memories from fifth grade are somewhat of the sort where I just fell flat on my face. It was great. Heather, how are we on the visual?
Wait, I'm almost
If you're
done.
on
One
audio
sec.
and you can't see the visual, again, audio listeners, go on our YouTube because there's so many audio listeners, but barely any people on video. But if you want the edits,
They don't want
the
to see our
beautiful
faces.
edits,
They just want to hear They just want to record the blackmail. They don't care about our face.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, honestly, I don't blame them. I don't want to see my face most of the time either.
I know. I'm like, oh, thank God they're
I think
audio.
that was solid. But I asked the gymnast girl's friend in like freshman year, I was like, yo, because I like got that brought up somehow in English freshman year, and I asked him, I was like, hey, do you remember that? She's like, no. So
I
like
can't get
maybe it
this one
wasn't a big deal.
arm to
It's
listen.
good because not a lot of people remember, or she didn't remember it
Yeah.
because she was one of the people that came up to me. So I was like, okay, if she doesn't remember it, like surely there's only like maybe 5 people that have it in the deep depths of their
Yeah.
childhood memories.
And they probably don't remember the details. It was kind of like, oh, I just remember Melanie was running this race and she like tripped. It's not something like, oh my god, her pants fell down.
The
It was
worst
just
thing
like,
was,
oh, she tripped.
I was friends with like all these group of guys, and they all went up to the guy to congratulate him. I'm like, did you
Oh
guys
yeah,
not
and then you're just on the floor like.
like if I knew what flipping off people meant, I probably would have done that in my mind. But little me was just like, and I was beating him
Those
for a while.
jerks.
I know those jerks. I think
Wait.
they were
Just
worried
like
because I don't
the
think
the
anyone
childish
expected me to
name
be
calling.
faster. Like no one expected me to be faster because I didn't play sports and they did, and I was like speeding past them.
It would have been such a flex if you had won, though.
Would have, honestly. I was in the lead. That's probably like. Ugh, but I would not want a rematch now because he for sure has gotten faster and I've only gotten slower since 5th grade. So I would not want a rematch. Let's make that very
Stamina's
clear.
not there. It's gone.
Stamina's not there. So whoever hears this, if you're friends with said guy, if you know said guy, I don't want a rematch ever. Like keyword ever. No. I would not only fall flat on my face, I'd probably just like give up within like 5 seconds, be like, nope, 100 meters ahead. We're done here.
All right,
Heather,
so I can't see my camera very well, so I don't know how I can hold this up. But this is the visual I have in my head.
Yeah, essentially that was it. That was
with your legs like up in the air, with your face just skids, like you know those cartoons when someone falls over really dramatically and their entire body's up like this and they just skid across the earth.
That was essentially me. I skid a good few inches in my face because I tripped already, so I lost most of my momentum, and then I trip again and then you lose more momentum.
Oh,
so.
that's good then.
Yeah, the first trip, the guy did me a favor essentially. Like with the first trip because I lost most of my momentum. So.
Mr.
Did you ever see the second grader? I imagine you could like glare at him.
No, I don't even remember what he looks like. I just know he was there. And the intimidating, he did the pincher hands too. So he was crab
not the
walking,
pinchers,
like,
not the deadly pinchers.
He walked over to me.
I know, but it's just so funny to me. It's just because it's like, right? Because it's
like, I didn't even know that kid, and I was like, what are you doing?
It's just like if it was just some like random second grader tripping you because they wanted to be like a little pill, like a little jerk, and that's fine, right? But the fact that it was some second grader who was just like.
Yeah. Side note, you were saying they were playing soccer and you brought up crab walking. I don't know about everyone else, or even you guys, but in 8th grade, when you think you're so cool because you're about to go into high school, our gym teacher and the other male gym teacher, we did crab soccer. Or is it what? No, crab walk. No, yeah. Is crab walking the one when you're on your hands and knees and you're like kind of planked up? That's a crab walk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did crab soccer. We all were like walking like that and trying to kick the soccer ball. It looked ridiculous. 2 whole classes, like 40 kids in one gym, all crawling weirdly on the floor.
You guys just look like broken beach chairs walking around.
Like this.
Yeah, that was essentially it.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. That puddle.
It's just such
I wonder where the second grader is now. Like he's possibly gonna be here when we're seniors in high school. Can I do the senior thing and intimidate them? Unless they're like 6 feet tall now, then I can't do that.
If you know, who he is,
does he know that after all these years you still
hold
this
that
grudge against him?
I want a rematch with that little kid, okay? A little second grader.
He's like 6 foot now, and he's like,
Yeah.
He's like, let's do it.
Yeah. Alright, go for it, Eva.
Okay, so mine is earlier than 5th grade. It's in 3rd grade. We were making, you had like a basic cardboard cutout of like a, not cardboard cutout, but like some stiff paper of like a person, just a blank person. You're supposed to like cut out clothes and put it on, and it's supposed to be you, right? Well, then it was like you make the clothes and you make it look like you, but then you put something in your hand that like you liked, or like your favorite movie or something like that, favorite something. And I decided I was gonna do the Christmas classics, like the Rudolph, like the elf meme, like that one, okay, like Rudolph. and Frosty and stuff, but I didn't want anyone to know because I knew they were so old, and I was like, I don't think anyone's really seen them in my class. I'm with like third graders, but my parents like to show me old shows. So I was like discreetly drawing like the little DVD disc and writing on it. But I didn't want anyone to know. And then the guy sitting next to me was like, "What are you putting on yours?" And I was like, "Oh no," I just kept like hiding it until he freaking kept bugging me until I said, "Shut up!" And it was so loud. It was so loud, I remember. And I remember the classroom went silent, and I started just like freaking getting so hot and red. And I was like, please don't let the teacher notice. The teacher like noticed it got quiet, but they didn't call me out or anything, so I hope it was fine. Or she might have. I don't have to remember. My mind is like frantically blanking out all the memories. I don't remember if she said like, she might have said something like, let's not use that kind of language here or something, but I was so embarrassed. And I honestly, looking back, it seems like a dream, but I have the actual project like in my house somewhere because my mom keeps all the art stuff, so it's not a dream. That was so embarrassing.
I feel like you don't remember it because it's so traumatic that your mind just blocks it out naturally.
I know, and then my mind like heightens all the worst things. Like I remember it went dead silent, and people just like stopped and like stared in my direction. And he was just like silent. He's like, "Oh, okay."
Man, you really told him.
And then of course you post it on the walls for like everyone to see, right? So then I'm sure everyone was like, "Well, I gotta know now. I gotta know what she put." So I made it worse, but yeah, that was really embarrassing.
The awkward silence just randomly in classrooms.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Rip. All right. My turn, I suppose. My story is also from 5th grade. The details might be a little bit fuzzy. My memory isn't like the best, right? But so I went to a private school in SF because my mom had a job there, right? And this is like just like context. So I went there, and she worked there, so she had to be there real early. She was like assistant head of the school, and she was head of the middle school, so she had to like be there real early to get everything organized and stuff, right? I was probably 10, maybe 11, because October birthday, right? So I'm 10-year-old. I don't want to get up early, right? Especially to go to school, like ugh. So the mornings are always a little bit rushed because I've always been bad at doing things quickly. Just sort of as a rule, my morning everything is always it takes me so long to get ready in the mornings, even when I was little. So everything is always super rushed and super hurried. So my mom, finally manages to bundle me and my sibling and herself into the car so we're not late, and she drives down to the school. It's like a 15-20 minute drive, right? And we get there, and she drops me off just to go do like her own thing, and I realize that I forgot to grab my shoes. Because you see, the thing is, since everything was always so fast, I would always just grab my shoes and put them on in the car, because I wouldn't bother to put them on before I got into the car. I just sort of like grab them and run kind of thing. But I'd forgotten to grab them. And I just didn't notice because I just got in the car and like, because sometimes I don't because a lot of times I wouldn't put my shoes on until like right after I had to get out of the car, because I like to, I mean, I still do, but now I just do it with my shoes on. I essentially any surface that you can sit on, I sit with my legs crossed like this, right? Mm-hmm. Which when you're little, I mean, always, except I've just gotten used to it, it's much easier to do without your shoes on. So I wouldn't put my shoes on until I had to and have my legs crossed, and then right before I went out, I'd be like, I have to put my shoes on, and my mom would be like, right, because then she had to stand there and wait for me to put my shoes on. Mm-hmm. But so I was just at school, and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have my shoes. And I was really, really embarrassed, and I didn't want. I can feel my face getting red. I don't know why. I'm not like, the story doesn't embarrass me anymore. I just think it's confusing, but I'm still getting red anyway. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? And I didn't want people to like just see me like in my socks, because I didn't have any shoes to wear, right? So
it's still like a simple thing, but like it's so like weird that you're like embarrassed.
In my socks. right? Mm-hmm. So I went, luckily, one of my friends was there early, because she got there early sometimes. So I went and I sat on one of the benches near the side of the courtyard, and she gave me her jacket, for me to put over put over my legs so no one can see that I didn't have any shoes on, because I was really embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to see me just sitting on the bench in my socks, right? So she gave me her jacket to put over my legs, because I sit cross-legged, so you could just
Mm-hmm.
You get the visual, right? Which was also very, very thoughtful of her, because she almost never took her jacket off. But she was like, here, you can use your jacket to hide your feet so no one knows you don't have shoes. And I was like, thank you. And then I just had to sit there and wait for like 30 minutes while one of my parents drove back home and grabbed my shoes and drove back to school. And so I felt very dumb, and I was very embarrassed. But that is my 5th grade shoeless story. I got my shoes in the end, and I went to class with my shoes, and it was fine because I had the jacket, so no one had to know. No one except my friends had to know that I didn't have my shoes.
It's like that one meme with like everyone at a party, and it's like a little stick figure drawing, and it's like, little do they know, blah 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 blah. And it's like, for Heather, it's like, little do they know I don't have shoes on, and everyone's around playing, and you're just like sitting there like, nothing to see here. Move on. Just keep going.
Little do
I actually
they know.
have something sort of similar to that, because I had another story, but we're not going to do that one. That one's from freshman year. It's too fresh, Still a little too embarrassing to put in there.
Did you forget your shoes in freshman year?
No. I meant I got from that. I got inspiration to tell a different story. So it was like, I went to San Francisco schools until like halfway through 1st grade. So I was still in San Francisco at this time. And, it's pretty cold over there in the winter. There's a lot of rain, or at least back in 2010 there was. And so I go to school. It's first thing in the morning. My mom sort of kind of dropped me off, and she's like, okay, just go now. And I was at the playground, and usually, because my mom dropped me off so early, I would just sort of kind of play around there, find new friends every day, and just sort of kind of play. And today I was like, no one's in the playground? I get to have the playground all to myself? What a steal. So I race up that thing, and I go to the top slide, and I slide down, and at the end there is a puddle because it rained. And I was like, looks like I peed in my pants. Like, what do I do now? My socks were wet, my shoes were wet, some of my shirt was wet, all of my pants were wet. It was a humongous puddle. It was almost as big as me. So I go to the teacher, I'm like, I didn't pee in my pants, I swear.
That's like the first thing you say. What's so suspicious? This kid's like crying, like, I swear I didn't pee in my pants. Help me.
No, but I pointed to that because it was like that's a little bit too much pee. You know what I mean? Like, it was a big puddle, so it was awful. And I was like, please ask my mom. She needs to go get me new clothes. And my mom came back like an hour later because it was far. Like, the school I went to was really far. So I sort of kind of sat in the back of the classroom that day for like an hour, waiting for my clothes. Didn't have a desk, just a chair for my slimy little self. And I just sort of kind of sat there like, at least I'm near the door, maybe it'll blow some wind to dry off my face.
Wait, so did you were you not able to go to your desk? They were like, oh, just sit here while you wait.
I was like, they thought I was going to get new clothes anyways. You don't want to get the chair and desk wet. And then go back and sit at the chair and desk wet after you
kid, you sit by the door, because, like...
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah. It's really foggy, because I don't really remember anything after the puddle, so this could be complete BS. But this is what I'm having a feeling that this is what happened. Who knows? I could have gone into, like a movie after that. I don't remember what happened afterwards, clearly. So... I know my mom got me new pants, and I was like, the rest of the day was just normal, but I don't think I ever went to the slides after that. And I was sort of kind of like check at the bottom. Okay, we're cool. Wait for someone else to go down the slide. They're good. Okay, let's go now.
A mistake you only make once.
Oh yeah, no, even slides to today, I don't do that anymore. No, we look at the bottom of the slides now.
Melanie, what grade was that?
1st grade. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like too far into my life, so like
it's just a puddle, so it's not. One thing, it's like not too big, but still embarrassing.
Yeah, I was just like, I was just like soaked. I was like, how is that puddle that big? Like, how does that much water collect at the bottom of a slide? The indent is that much, but supposedly my little self was just a sponge soaking in water the entire time.
Two things though. First of all, yeah, racing up the slide was, you felt so cool and such a rebel when you raced up the slide, and like the people on duty, the teachers on duty didn't see. Secondly, I imagine the teachers just like you just go up crying, you're like, I swear I didn't pee my pants, and it's like, sit by the door and just chill there, because I don't want you contaminating your seat with whatever's on your pants.
That much. It doesn't usually get into like your shirt when you pee. So I assume she realized it was a puddle. I was like, I'd like to think there's no pee that goes upwards. It doesn't defy gravity.
Like, well, I mean,
don't get into it, Heather. First grade years. Don't just don't elaborate. We don't need to.
I love how immediately saying I didn't pee my pants, I swear, is the most suspicious thing you could have done.
But as a first grader, you're like so naive, and you're like, okay, maybe if I say this, they'll believe me. They have to believe me.
You could have just said, I went down the slide and I got into a puddle, but no, I swear I didn't pee my pants.
Worst case scenario, that did not happen. The worst case scenario did not happen, okay? Like, I love that for me. We're really thinking ahead.
Alright, would you like to share your second story, Eva?
Okay, this is in 7th grade. So it's still kind of fresh, and yes, it's still kind of embarrassing, but it's funny for the rest of people, at least. So in 7th grade, there's 3 years in our middle school, that's how it worked. It was 6th, 7th, and 8th. And if you got a girl PE teacher, you would be doing dance unit. So 6th grade, I had a boy PE teacher, no dance unit. So 7th grade, first time doing dance unit, and we had just finished like all the line stuff when you're not dancing with a partner, you're doing like the Cupid shuffle and stuff. And so you had to get a partner. And I was partnered with this guy, and it was cool, and we danced. And then afterwards, like before they were going to let class go, we all sat down, and the teachers were like, yeah, I did so well, whatever. And she was going to choose someone, like a couple or whatever, some partners, to dance for the entire gym. This was like 2 classes combined, because it was both the girl teachers. So there's, once again, 40 people in the gym. And who did she choose? Us. Yay! Because it was his teacher that was choosing, and also everyone knew that this guy danced, because he would do like talent show, and he did hip hop, and he was a good dancer. And I was like, crap, this is my first time. I thought we were done. I thought we could go. No. So we both awkwardly got up. We're like in the corner. We both got up. I'm taller than him. No shame on him. I just had my growth spurt early and stuff, so I'm like taller than him. So it's like really awkward, and we're awkwardly dancing. And as we're like swing dancing, he's like, spin me. And I'm like, what? As we're dancing, he's like, spin me. And I'm like, I don't know how. I've never done it. And he's like, it's okay, just do it. He's like aggressively shouting at me. We're in the gym. It's like reverberating. I'm sure people heard nearby. People are just sitting down looking. So eventually, I'm like, okay, because he's like shouting it so many times. I'm like, okay. And I start to spin him, and why is my voice shaking? For some reason, he just started screaming. So I'm just spinning, and he's just like, ah! And I like genuinely didn't know. I'm like, am I hurting you? How am I spinning you wrong? How is there a wrong way to spin? I swear I think I'm doing it right, but I didn't know if I was like I couldn't tell. And it, once again, dead silence, gym, no music. She didn't play music for us. I'm pretty sure it's dead. And he's just screaming, and I'm just like, okay, that's done. Now my hands are like all sweaty, and I'm like, oh. And then it was just, and Miss, I almost said her name. The gym teacher no one expected that. I think it was like an awkward round of applause after, and then we just sat down, and I was just like, oh my god. And my first thought is, oh my god, am I hurting you? Are you okay? Because it was like pretty genuine. It was at least pretty loud. So I was like, oh no, are you okay? I spun him a few times because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I'm gonna keep going? Question mark. And I was like,
imagine like he was. Honestly, it's just like, you know how he was just doing his internal screaming externally. You know?
Yeah, I think he was trying to make it funny. And it was funny,
make it a little
but
bit less
like
awkward.
I was panicking.
It was funny for everyone but you.
I was like, ah ha ha.
Can we please do my bonus before we get to Heather's? Heather, I love you, but like my bonus is also dance related.
Okay, fine.
Can we just like weave it in? Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna do the bonus right now. If you want to watch that, if you want to listen to that, go on our YouTube on the day after this podcast came out. So if you watched it the day after, you can go onto YouTube right now and watch it. It's pretty cool. I think Eva likes it.
Have
so
access
hopefully
to
Heather
some
will like it.
personal Melanie blackmail just for you. Yeah, check us out.
Woo! All right, so I suppose it is my turn for me to tell my the last embarrassing story of this episode. This was in 7th grade, and it was really, really okay. So context: geography is not my strong suit, and memory is my strong suit even less. Right? So I'm really bad with names of any kind, like names of people, names of like flowers or whatever, right? Names of scientific terms, names of countries, names of places. Like I'm really bad at names and numbers. Just sort of, specific stuff they want you to remember. I cannot. Like I'm so bad at birthdays. Like I can never remember anyone's birthday.
Which is funny because she's in drama. She has to remember things, and then she's really good at math. But
I'm actually really not good at math. I'm just good at taking standardized tests. So the system thinks I'm good at math. So this is like maybe it's like in the first week or so of classes. I think I'm not quite the first day. I don't think. Maybe I'm not sure. It was one of the first few days of 7th grade. And I was in 7th grade history class. It was a good class. I liked that history teacher. He was chill. But he would have people line up like to leave class. By like he would like choose a specific thing. It's like if you've done this or if you are that or if whatever, then you can go line up. And then they could leave. They could be the first ones to leave, right? And everyone else would have to like wait in their desks to leave. And I don't know. I mean, it was kind of strange, but didn't really seem that strange at the time because that's just sort of how elementary school, middle school works, right? And whereas now people are like shoving binders in their backpacks 5 minutes before the bell rings, or 5 minutes after the bell rings, depending on how good the teacher is at time management. So the teacher was like, "All right, you may go stand." You may go stand by the wall, like you may go line up if you have been to another country. And I was like, hey, I went to London a couple of years ago. I've been to another country. I can stand up and go get in line. Because it's one of those things where it's like, there isn't really, like, you don't gain that much by getting in line, but it still feels good to be one of the people who falls in that category, you know? Right? So I was like, yes, I can go stand up and get in line. And so I did. And I was like in the middle of the line. I was like at the end of the line, actually. And so, but then he went down the line. And I don't know if he asked everyone or just a handful of people, and I was really unlucky. But he was like, hey, what country did you go to? Right? And so then he got to me. And I was like, oh, yeah. He was like, what country did you go to? And I was like, oh, I've been to London. And he was like, yes, but what country is that in? And now, more context, I've always had a problem with like different, like, is it like Britain? Is it the UK? Like I was always a little confused on like what the right term for that was. And so I didn't really know. And also I'm so bad at remembering things, so I was like, I don't know, it was London. So he was like, what country? And I just stood there and I could not remember. I just stood there and stared at him with like a blank face when he's asking me, hey, what country is London in? Right? Like this isn't even some like small obscure, like this is literally the UK. It's huge. It's well known. London is one of the most well known places in the UK. Right? And I'm just standing there.
Not well known.
Eventually after like
trying to like
after a couple of seconds of like silence, when it was clear that I didn't know, the people around me like some of the people in the line, and then also the people like sitting in the desks, sort of like away from the wall, were like, Psh, Britain. Say Britain. Like they were whispering the answer to me, but it was coming from so many places, and I was so embarrassed that like my mind couldn't really process what they were saying. And so it was another couple seconds of me standing there stuttering while everyone around me is telling me the answer until finally, like the few brain cells in my head that were still working managed to put together enough syllables to just parrot what the person behind me said, and I was like, Britain. And he was like, okay, and then just moved on to the next person. But I wanted to die, right? Because I was like, I didn't talk to many people in 6th grade because I just came from a different school. I didn't go to any of like the feeder schools for the middle school. I didn't go to any of the feeder elementary schools. I went to somewhere completely different in San Francisco. So I didn't know anybody, and I was also really bad at making friends because I had been at one school. It was a private school, so there weren't many people, and I had been at that school from like preschool all the way up to 5th grade, so I never had to make friends because I already knew who everyone was. So I wasn't very good at it. And I have like anxiety, so I don't want to be good at it. Like I don't like talking to people. That's terrifying, right? So I would just sort of sit in the corner and read on my book for like the entirety of 6th grade. So I didn't know anyone. And this is like the very beginning of 7th grade, so I still don't know anyone. And I want to make a good first impression. And it was so bad. It was so bad. Especially because I knew a good number of people. And I mean, there were some people that I didn't like know, but I was like, I wanted them to like me. Like the people who like I admired or were more popular or whatever, or like I wanted to be friends with. There were like a good number of those people in the class. And it was just, oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
Heather, you saying it's well known. I don't think it's well known that it's in the UK. I don't think it's.
Please. I know you're trying to. At this
Sorry,
point,
Melanie,
you're
you
just mocking
can't.
me. At this point, you're trying to cover my butt, but you're just mocking me at this point. It's
No, I'm trying to cover my butt.
You didn't know either. You didn't know where London.
No, you asked me in like freshman sophomore year because you were like you told us this story, and I was like, and they're like you were like everyone knows where Britain is. I mean, not where Britain. Sorry, everyone knows where London is. And I'm like, do they know? And I'm like, and then you guys looked at me and were like, okay, where is it? And I go, France.
London, France.
At least you were debating between UK and Britain. I was debating a country far away from it. Actually,
I mean, I wasn't debating. I had my brain. It was like no thoughts, head empty. My brain had completely
my thought was completely off. So I don't know which one's worse.
At least
and
you
I
was
much older than you.
What? Paris.
At least you could think of a name of any country.
Yeah, one of our friends convinced me after that because I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know anything. And one of them convinced me later on in the day that Paris was in fact in Spain.
No, that was Seneca, wasn't it?
No, it was in like chem class. She was like, because we were studying the map for the map quiz in history in freshman, sophomore year, I forgot which one it was. And then she like was testing me and she's like, okay, but where's Paris? And I go, France, duh. And after 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, she convinced me that it was in Spain. Yeah, that was today's episode of exposing ourselves, essentially. We really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to watch tomorrow's bonus, because it's going to be either really long or really short. But either way, it's going to be a good time, in my opinion. Whether or not it goes up in the first place will be a last-minute decision of mine. And yeah, so make sure to like, subscribe, do all that on whatever platform you're listening on or watching on. And also, bonuses only go up on YouTube. So if you're on audio or if you're just watching this from some kind of like trailer on Instagram, they all go up on YouTube. So make sure to check that out. Link is somewhere in the description of this. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week with a brand new topic. And yeah.